Hey everybody, welcome to the PastorCast. On today's show, we have a lot of exciting things. I'm joined again by Bill. Bill, what's on the show today?
We got a great look at the flourishing online ministries, as well as a look toward the future when we're going to be able to meet again in person. So stay tuned. All that and more is coming right up.
Skiddle-a-doo, I said, Bill Bop. Skiddle-a-doo, I said, Bill. Skiddle-a-doo, I said, skid out and bop. Skiddle-a-doo, I said, Bill Bop, boom. Skiddle-a-doo, I said, Bill Bop. Skiddle-a-doo, I said, Bill. Skiddle-a-doo, I said, skid out and bop. Skiddle-a-doo, I said, Bill Bop, boom.
All right, Bill, so one of the things as we get started today, I just yesterday watched your latest episode of Getting Through This Together, and I was laughing at how many times you must have let Jessie shoot you with a Nerf gun.
She's a very good shot, and oh, I am too. Look at that, hit the camera. Yeah, we're producing these shows, sort of as an evangelistic outreach. They are designed to and are accomplishing their goal of reaching people who may not want to tune into churchy stuff, but just people who are searching for things like COVID-19 anxiety or coping strategies. And we just encourage people to use it in that vein. Share these videos with friends of yours who it may be a bridge toward our other content here that really point people toward the gospel. So we have a good time, but it's all for an important purpose.
I saw some comments on Facebook, people saying that you and Jessie really deserve your own, I guess it'd be a comedy/reality show.
Yeah, it could be a sitcom, could be a reality show, you know. But I bet you could have a good show too. You were telling me you've been passing time in quarantine with a lot of table tennis, a lot of ping pong.
Well, we got this ping pong table on our back porch, and I don't know if everyone knows this about me, but in my past, I was quite a ping ponger. I was the intramural champion of my college. So anyway, almost every day, and it's multiple times a day, I'm out on my back porch with my kids, and I'll tell you what, my kids are getting pretty good because they can start to beat me now too. So we're having some wild table tennis.
It's scary to think about you being even better because you've really creamed me a few times. I don't know that I've ever beaten you.
So, hey, excited to get into the show today, Bill. First thing that I think we want to talk about is we have really, as pastors, been encouraged by how even though we've had to close the doors of our Sunday morning services, God has really allowed us to have a flourishing ministry together as a church because of the resources of being online.
Yeah, absolutely. The numbers are really encouraging. We had one service that had, I think it was 16,000 plus views. And just imagine like those numbers inside our physical building. It wouldn't be possible. And so this crisis has presented us with an opportunity to expand our reach far beyond what we were doing before the crisis. It's really amazing.
Yeah, and the other thing about it, a couple weeks in, all of a sudden as we were putting the services together, I realized, it's really important because so many people are watching right now that might not normally be watching, that we have a particular call to receive Jesus and a way to respond. And so one of the things you'll notice on a Sunday morning is that I'm asking people to respond by texting us at our text messaging phone number, which I think it's really been something because people, in fact, have received Christ as a result of our online ministry and online presence and have texted us and let us know about it. And we've had the opportunity to engage in lives in ways that I think is just outstanding.
Yeah, and we're also meeting the needs of the community in a really tangible way. Through Project 1200, which I hope people have heard about, we've told people, hey, there's a lot of you who are receiving a stimulus check that really need it and are relying on it. But there are some people who, it's not really needed at this point, and they realize that there's tremendous need in other families. And so we've encouraged them to donate that to the church in Project 1200. And we've had a lot of people take us up on that. And we are right now in just the first stages of working with the city to find people who are in need. And it's going to be an amazing thing to just mobilize the church to make a difference in people's lives. And in addition to that, Grace Packs, they are also transitioning into meeting people's food insecurity at this time. They're giving out meals to people who have lost jobs and find themselves in tremendous need. So yeah, the church, like you said at the beginning of the show, the doors may be closed, but we are not closed. We are still open. We are still achieving our mission, maybe now more than ever. I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but we are really out there in every way.
Yeah, and let me just say something about Project 1200, which I think is neat. We had approached the city of Port St. Lucie, telling them that we were eager to help our city with people who had needs. And when we told them about what we were doing as a church and how people were giving generously, actually the city turned around and they said, hey, can we send out a press release about this? We want to encourage our city employees to donate to Project 1200 if they want to donate. And so we're really excited about that. We've had quite a number of donations come in already. Thank you, everyone. And I'm eager not only about our church giving, but then people from outside of the church saying, wow, I want to be a part of that. And I just mention that because I think it's actually in moments like these where the church has its, what I'll call its finest hour. And, for some people, maybe your thinking has been, oh, this has been too bad, the church has been closed. But I think actually that's not the way of thinking about it at all. There's a building that's been closed, but you cannot close the church. Jesus said the gates of hell won't prevail against it, and there's no way in which the coronavirus has closed the church. In fact, I see the church at work and alive. Lives are being reached, the mission's going forward in ways that are truly astounding. And I just want to encourage everyone, you're all a big part of that. A lot of you are watching and sharing content, the worship services and other things that we're doing. And it's a profound time, I believe, and God's up to big things. We always talk about how he works everything for the good, and I believe that that's true even in this difficult time.
Yeah, absolutely. And even as we talk about how fruitful this particular chapter has been so far, we know there's a lot of people out there who really miss that face-to-face interaction. And we're really happy today to, start to see the flattening of the curve that we've been talking about, that the interventions we put in place have been working. And so now there's talk of maybe relaxing some of those restrictions. In fact, this Wednesday, our governor, Ron DeSantis, presented his plan to begin reopening the state. And in front of him on the podium were the words, smart, safe, and step by step. And we as church leaders have kind of taken a similar, idea here with reopening the church. Do it smart, do it safe, do it step by step in phases, just like the state is going to reopen. So Scott, maybe you want to talk a little bit about how we plan to open the church.
Yeah, we don't have all the details yet as to when. I can say this, we're a church family and we love each other. We're eager to see each other, and I think that's wonderful. But of course, we want to do that, just as you said, in a safe, smart, step-by-step way. And so actually, we plan to open the church for our in-person services in a phased way as well. And so some of the things that we're considering are these. When we first reopen, the guidelines that Governor DeSantis put out is that any space be no more than 25% full at capacity. And so we're going to follow that as well and practice social distancing. We're going to only have people sitting staggered in rows, every other row. We're going to ask that families or individuals leave at least four seats between themselves and others so that we maintain the kind of social distancing that the state requires. We're going to recommend, though not require, that people wear face masks. We're not going to, as we begin, have door greeters or ushers or take an offering. In fact, it'll probably, as we begin, be a fairly brief and simple service, but an opportunity for us to be in person again, which I think it'll be an important time, a celebration. But we want to say this as well, that at least as we first begin, if you're in a vulnerable part of the population, we're going to encourage you not to come. Our online services are going to continue. You won't be failing to come to church by failing to show up in person. In fact, I believe that as we gather online, the church is gathering. And so we're going to encourage people. And even there'll be some who they just don't feel comfortable. No problem. You don't need to feel any shame or any thought whatsoever. Just feel free to join our online worship service. Those are some of the things that we're putting in place and we plan to put in place. And there'll probably be some other things when we make a full and final announcement.
Yeah, we just know there's a lot of people with a lot of different opinions about the speed at which things are reopening. I just saw a Reuters poll that talked basically about 40%, thinking they would not go to large events. Another 40% would. And then there's people in the middle. And we just want to say, however you come down in that spectrum, it's okay, if you join us right away in person, or if you choose to wait however long, like Scott said, that online service will be there for you, and it counts as church. It's not like you should feel guilty for not going to church. You are going to church, and that's okay. Now, Scott, we are going to, like you said, phase this in step by step, and when do you think that first phase may start? Have we nailed down a timeline yet?
Yeah, so Governor DeSantis said that phase 1 starts on Monday, and actually our church council is going to be meeting on Monday to talk about the timeline. And so at this point, I just asked for people to be praying about, wisdom for our church leaders as we have those discussions and make those decisions. And so at this point, we're not announcing a first Sunday yet, but we are starting to think about things like we won't have door greeters or ushers, or we're not even going to pass the offering plate. There won't be children's ministry at the start. But we will have the opportunity to, again, be in person. And anyway, those are some of the things that we have thought through. And, this is happening in real time. We're thinking through these issues and working together and trying to find God's wisdom in it all. And so I just ask that as our council meets this upcoming Monday, that you'd keep all of our elders in prayer.
Yeah, and as with every decision we make, your health, your safety is one of our top priorities. And, we care for you spiritually, but we also care for your physical health. And that's what's coming up on the horizon. And however you choose to join us online or in person in the hopefully near future, you will be participating with something that's really great. As we opened the show with, God is doing great things during this difficult season. And we just, again, maybe want to close where we started by saying, man, we are so thankful for your partnership in being digital missionaries and sending the gospel out in this time when it's so badly needed. And in faith, we just can't wait to see what God's going to do next.
That's right. And, in the meantime, I think there's ways in which God's even sharpening his church. I saw one thing where someone had written, and I think it went something like this, that the church is not closed, but it has been deployed. And I think that's true, and I like that. The church has been deployed. These are times, by the way, in which our near neighbors and the people we have contact with, even, we might not be in person, but we can call or, get face-to-face through video technology. There's a real opportunity for Christians to share the love of Jesus right now. And I really think this is, in the midst of crisis, the church's finest hour. And I'm proud about all the ways in which our members are shining the light of Jesus, and just want you all to know we love and care for you, and we're praying for you every single day.
Man, Scott, what you said is really profound, and maybe God is using this time, among other things, to sharpen our definition of what the church is. And for people who thought all church is an event once a week inside a building on a Sunday, that has expired, that idea. And right now the church is being deployed, as you said. What a beautiful thing. And like Scott, you just said, we also want to take time at the close of our PastorCast just to remind people that we are there to care for you. And if you do have any needs at all, there's a very simple way to reach out, and that's by texting 772-277-7072. And that is just a phenomenal way for us to stay in touch during this time when we are not together face-to-face.
All right. Bill, thanks so much. It's been a great PastorCast. Glad we could join together. Everyone, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.